AMC stock chart. Is this a giant ass bull flag breakout? Let's take a look. This is a cool chart if you're bullish. Also, GameStop, KOSS. There's a couple other meme stocks that are looking similar. And then there's a few things in macro we'll take a look at. The S&P always. But gold and Bitcoin are doing some cool stuff right now. So that's what's up on this episode. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's go. All right, so this goes back to January, but here we've been getting what looks like a bullish flag consolidation, and we just got a breakout. That's a good size, about the width of the channel here. And so this is a bullish AMC looking breakout, and we had a similar breakout on GME 2 days ago, so I'll take a look at that as well. But here's the general idea with this kind of a consolidation and breakout, is you want to get a breakout that's big enough to look like a breakout, about the width of the channel, which we already have. 11, there's a little resistance. We could hit that before we pull back, but you go, and then you want to top test the channel once or twice, and then probably need to react with this to get through it. But that's kind of the look for a bullish breakout, as you break out of the channel, you top test it, and then you can take off. Let me go see what the GME breakout looks like now. And not very good. Okay, so the GME chart doesn't look great. We're getting past the end of this consolidation area, and it hasn't started to take off yet. And also this breakout is a little bit weak. It's not the full width of this channel. It didn't get anywhere near this resistance level up here. So this is a weak looking breakout that's staying down, and we're losing our breakout kind of support line now on GME. So this is something to watch pretty closely over the next day or two to see if AMC and GME kind of follow the same chart. And yeah, okay, so that's, yeah, not a good look actually. I was thinking GME would be up here messing around with the 194 by today, and that's kind of weak. Okay. What else is going on? There's some cool stuff. Let me go look at the general market. So we had a pretty wild week this week. I mean, we rejected off the top of the bull channel, and boom, we crossed the entire bull channel in 2 days. But picked up support here with a triple tap. That's pretty good. And now we're just in the middle of the channel, kind of floating around. It could go to either side of the channel here. There's not anything too crazy going on right now. So I mean, just for now on the S&P, I mean, we're just in this bull channel, just bulling until it starts testing one of these edges. It did show slight interest in breaking out of the top of this thing, but it hasn't made any attempt yet. If it gets up here, can look for a breakout of the top. And then in that case, we have the big bull channel right overhead here at 43 something. And so that's kind of the wedge area that I was looking at, is either just bulling the channel into that line or doing like a little breakout of the top and then just like getting stuck in here. And I think that this top channel, let me zoom out, is going to be big time resistance on what, like a daily chart? Yeah, so you can see our little bull channel here is pretty steep, and we're just headed straight up into the big bull channel. But if we go back, this is the channel since 2008, and you can see that this big bull channel all the way back to 2008 never once attempted to get out of the top. Every time it's just smooth resistance, like rejection, rejection, rejection. Then we had this really long grinding move, but there's no false breakouts at all. It just knocked it down. And then since we started chopping down out of the bottom of the channel, we haven't gotten back up there yet, but it looks like we're going there now. And so that's kind of the look for, what is it, a month? Like this thing will run into it by the end of June. So that's a couple of months. And then we should be getting into trouble zone if we're bulling out for another month and a half and we start running into this thing. Or if we break out earlier than that and run into it. Anytime May or June, if we start running into this thing, it could be trouble. So the S&P is just looking kind of generic bullish for the moment. and it looks like all the margin loans and everything are fine and they're flowing. But we do have Bitcoin doing a bearish move, which is interesting. So daily chart, let me get in tighter on this. Well, let me just show the pattern. So this is an Elliott wave, an ending diagonal pattern, a super textbook and generic one with a perfect bull flag in the middle. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a sloppy line. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5 wave is this consolidating triangle here. We go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, boom, into the consolidating triangle here, and that's an Elliott wave bearish reversal pattern. And I know everyone says, like, you know, Bitcoin doesn't do whatever technical patterns like the rest of everything else does, but it has been doing it this year. I mean, we've just gotten bull flag, and then we got this 5 wave bull flag pattern into this triangle, and it pulled down. Let me zoom in on this little bear flag here. So this is the top of the triangle here, and you can see the stab that we did out of this triangle channel was just mean, like ram, vertical drop out, and we didn't get back up and back test it. We just consolidated into a bear flag. It just looks like a bear flag, and it looks like we broke down and we're bottom testing. This is a bear flag breakout, as opposed to the AMC chart, which looks like a bullish flag breakout, which is you come down into it, you break out of the bottom, top test it, look, twice. Bitcoin looks like it's in trouble right here. And so these have like an 80% chance of following through to the downside from this position. I guess I mentioned Ledger X before. So yeah, Ledger X, you can get Bitcoin mini options if you want to trade. I don't know if anyone's crazy enough to try to put Bitcoin. You could get puts off of this bear flag on Ledger X for not expensive. I mean, it's 0.01 Bitcoin per contract. So, and I'm not sponsored by them, but I think it's a pretty cool thing to be able to trade mini options. So it's not in like tens of thousands of dollars. It's like, you know, $100 a contract or something. Like anyone can grab a contract. Anyway, this thing looks bad. It looks really bad. I mean, this is a nasty breakdown out of the channel, but we have tons of support underneath. And I don't know. I didn't do a Bitcoin video. I talked about Doge. I talked about Doge a few days ago and looked at this chart a little bit as this bear flag was forming. But we have tons of support on Bitcoin. So any bearish move is going to be interesting because we have the moving averages and sort of the bottom of this, you know, ending diagonal right here at 45. We have the top of the last flag at 40. And then, well, below that, it's pretty gappy. And the previous spot is around 20, where we had the previous peak at 20. And then you can see when we blew out of the top here, we tested it from underneath, but we just gapped out of here. So there's actually a pretty big gap here above that bull flag. So 40 is a pretty aggressive bearish target here at the top. And then, I mean, this entire thing above the previous peak is just a monstrous breakout gap here. And so those are, I mean, 45 is like, we're not really breaking down kind of target. But if we do really break down on Bitcoin, those are the two targets, is 40 and 20. And 20 is really aggressive. Like if it got to 20, I would be doing like all in call options. Out of control. Anyway, that's a look at Bitcoin. But we've been seeing that when Bitcoin starts to pull back, the market will follow it down several days later, like 4 or 5 days after. And so Bitcoin has been pulling down, well, for like a whole week. And the S&P did check down, but it's sort of stopped checking down now. So we'll see if Bitcoin pulls down. We'll see if the market kind of follows it. And then at the same time, Bitcoin and gold have been sort of going opposite lately. Let's take a look at gold. So gold did this double bottom, and it's not looking bullish yet. A lot of people are calling bull on gold, and it's too soon for me because it's still underneath this main downtrend line and it's underneath the moving averages. So like it looks to me like gold is going to run into big time resistance right now, like today, or may already have. It's doing a pullback move, but this does not look bullish to me. It looks like we just did a counter trend kind of rally, and to get bullish on gold, yeah, we're going to have to get above this moving average, above this thing, and we really need to break out of the top of this. So if we do this first little move above the moving averages, I'll start liking gold. And then if we pop out of the top of this thing, I'll really like it. And so that's 18. And the top, I mean, if we go bullish from 18 somewhere, like we're going to blow past 20. This top is not going to matter. Anyway, that's a look at gold, which has been pretty interesting because the idea why gold has been so bearish, a lot of people are saying just people are moving from gold into Bitcoin as an alternative kind of reserve currency asset. And that may be true. And the S&P and Bitcoin have been doing similar things. So that's possible that if Bitcoin pulls down and the market follows it down, a lot of money could go into gold. And gold is supposed to be good in an inflationary environment, which it still seems like we're in short term. The jury's still out on the long-term trend, if it's going to be more inflationary or deflationary. It's really hard to tell. I mean, looking out 3 years, like what interest rates are going to be, who knows? They could go negative in 5 years, or they could land higher, and we could go into like an inflationary run, you know, like we did from like the 40s to the 70s. We had like huge inflation. After a bottom, same kind of thing. We had a bottom, a long-term zero bound kind of bottom on interest rates leading into World War II in the 40s, and then boom, we just like took off with inflation for like 30 years. So it's possible we take off like that, and it's possible that we don't. Like Japan just got stuck in a deflationary rut for like 30 years. So a lot of people are calling, well, either one. I don't know. I can do a video on that. Look at the euro dollar market is a good look on that. But yeah, I guess there is interesting stuff going on now. We have, you know, the stock market at a weird spot. We have Bitcoin with really bad technicals. We have maybe breakouts on some meme stocks, but things are looking pretty sketchy right now. And most stocks are just kind of chopping sideways. Like, I guess IWM is a cool one to look at. I need to learn the alphabet. I accidentally tapped my ticker symbol button. I had them all sorted in the order I wanted, and it just like resorted everything. So now I'm just like scrolling around, lost. But IWM has been bulling out of control since the COVID crash. And now we're getting this weird, here, and maybe it's picking up support here, but let me just draw the kind of topping pattern that we've been getting a lot lately, which is you just do like a ripping run, a bullish kind of run, right? But the topping pattern that we've been getting is you get a sideways move with a pullback, then you get this rolling blow off top, and then you consolidate under, then you consolidate over this line, the sideways line, and then you continue to the downside. And so this could very much be a topping pattern. Let me go look at Tesla. Tesla did this, and it's not really like the blow off top kind of topping pattern. It's more of like a flat. Let me go on 1 hour and get to this top on Tesla. It's not like the Great Depression, like blow off top kind of shape. And Tesla is a little bit more muted, but it's the same kind of thing. Like you get this sideways move, then you get the little pullback, right? And then you get the rounded blow off top, consolidate underneath, consolidate over, and then boom to the downside. Like that is like the topping pattern that everything has been doing recently. It's the chopping inflationary topping pattern, I guess, versus the deflationary kind of chopping pattern from like the Great Depression, where you get like crazy volatility and then you just explode and then like do a mega crash and then a weak rally and then a huge crash again. That's like the deflationary crashing pattern. But still you start with kind of like a sideways move, But I think this is more of like an inflationary kind of crashing pattern, which is choppier and more muted and more sideways, but it still follows to the downside. And I guess we're here, so let's look at what Tesla's doing. So this is a weird consolidation. We've been getting like these huge choppy consolidations on a bunch of charts that are just really indeterminate, really bad for options trading, really boring looking, and it just doesn't really indicate what direction this thing wants to go. It's just like eating up months of time. And so who knows? I mean, you know, we came down into a consolidation flag that's pointed up, so that kind of looks like a bear flag, but we just turned over. It's not like this is a flag in the middle of a move. We just turned over into this consolidation, and the consolidation's bigger than the top, so it doesn't really look like a bear flag. Kind of like the GME chart and the AMC chart. Let's go back to AMC. I mean, this consolidation is just huge. It's just a really big flag. So it wouldn't be weird for this thing to break out, but it's just a really big flag. Like these kind of smaller flags in the middle of an uptrend are more reliable kind of bull flag shapes. Like a huge flag, it's like it's taking a long time to consolidate, but they can blow out pretty hard to the upside. Let me go back to Tesla actually and show on the front side of the bubble for Tesla. Here, like this thing, like we got some little bull flags here on Tesla on the way up, boom, and you get these big breakout moves out of these little bull flags. But we're in the middle of an uptrend with little bull flags, like those are more reliable. But these, like this thing, this is a monster freaking consolidation flag here. But that comes on the end of a bunch of up moves, which is a different scenario than turning over and just going into a big consolidation. But this thing ended up being like the short squeeze, like blow off flag that shot it up to the top. And now what? I don't know. This is another big consolidation that looks bearish, but what? It could take another month to even form to make sure it looks like a bear flag. Then you got to get the breakout. So, yeah. Anyway, it's just like the first flag on a down move shouldn't be a monster thing like this. It just looks weird. Like if we got a little, a little bear flag, and then we got a bigger consolidation, it would look more normal. But just kind of turning over into a huge flag is weird. And same thing, I was looking at AMC. Like we're not in the middle. Well, I mean, we kind of are in the middle of a big run. I mean, this is the third flag, and the first one was pretty big, so this looks fine. This looks like a bull flag to me. But I'm just a little bit wary of huge flags. Let's check out. Oh, is Doge coming down? Oh, not really. Okay. I was gonna take a look at Doge because it was just going out of control. I think a week. Doge is actually way slower moving than people think it is. Oh, maybe not weekly, dailies. Yeah, so here's the look at Doge. As Doge does these really boring sideways consolidation flags, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fifth flag, and I'm surprised. It looks like it took off a little bit earlier than I was thinking, and it took off a lot bigger than I was thinking. But this looks like almost the same pattern as the last couple of flags, where you just get the peak and kind of follow it up, and then just pull back into a sideways thing. So I mean, I was thinking around 0.31 is kind of where it might consolidate sideways. I'll just draw a line here, and I'll move this line once it looks like it's kind of consolidating. The last one did that, and then it did a takeoff. So that's just Doge for now. And then the idea with the altcoins, like with Doge and stuff, is every 4 years Bitcoin will peak. And it's like the December, let me go back to Bitcoin. It's the December on every 4th year. It has been the cycle twice. So you can see we got the peak December 17, and then we got the peak December 13, right? So every 4 years in December it just like peaks on schedule because it has a 4-year halving cycle where there's less Bitcoin available every 4th year, and it just does like a bull run. It peaks in December, then it'll just do like a boring kind of bearish market for a couple years. And so boom, this is the last one, December of 17, and then we went into the bearish consolidation, and then boom, 21, and it should be December 21. So just based on the timing cycle, if that timing repeats, that's excellent for option trading. And on the way up, you usually get some pretty notable pullbacks. And it looks like we might be getting one of those right now because we're above moving averages. We're a little bit too hot, I think, on the trend line. Now we're coming back into it. Now we've consolidated sideways for a month and a half. Now we're making a little down move. So I'm looking for call options on Bitcoin, but I kind of want to put it down. I kind of want to do puts down to where I want to call it up, because I think this thing's going to pull back. I've been saying that for about a month. I think it's going to pull back, but this is a boring consolidation. Well, it's not a boring consolidation. This is a really mean technical pattern here. But I mean, we have moving averages here. Getting past 45 is going to be tough just because we're coming into support, like moving averages and trend line support here. So 45 is probably the sane target to look for call options. And then 40, the top of the last flag, is also a really good target. If we pull back, I mean, we could pull back like strong into 45, and then we could throw a dart down to 40, and that could be the end of it, and then you could take off. I think that's pretty probable. I think crashing down to 20 would require some kind of like collapse in the banking system or something, some kind of catastrophe. But I mean, we can pull down into 45, into 40, this range, 45 to 40, pretty easily without any problems in the the economy or whatever. I didn't mean to go way off track on Bitcoin. We were kind of looking at meme stocks on this one. So let's look at some meme stocks. So KOSS, similar kind of thing. It's just like this big consolidation. Oh, is KOSS breaking out too? Oh, it looks like KOSS might be popping out on the top of this thing as well. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know KOSS was popping too. So it looks like we're getting these kind of big time, bullish looking consolidations with little breakout moves on most of the meme stocks. KOSS is the craziest one if you're not following all the meme stocks. I mean, this thing went from what, $3 something. It went from 3 to 125. The flagpole on KOSS went from $3 to $125. This is by far the most ridiculous in the meme stock group, but you cannot get call options on this. You can only do buy and hold. So it's less fun. For option trading, you want to call these flagpole moves. But let's look at BlackBerry and see if anything's going on there. There's a couple of these stocks. If you go to Wall Street Bets, like everyone's like, it's all about GME. Stop worrying about the other short squeeze stocks. This is doing something similar. Let's get rid of some old stuff and get like a little consolidation line in here. So this looks pretty similar. I don't know where to draw. I'd have to work on this a little bit. It just looks like a consolidation down, which is usually a bullish thing. But it doesn't look as strong. There are some other ones like Rocket. Rocket had a completely different chart that was not similar to, where's Jan? Yeah, Rocket sort of did the January and the March one, but it did a tiny one and then a big one. But this is doing something similar. It's just kind of consolidating down. So that could be interesting. But there's SKT, the Tanger factory outlets, and this one never looked similar to the other charts, but this is another one that's mentioned on Wall Street Bets a lot. And it's just kind of a weak bullish thing. What, it went from 6 to 20. That's pretty good. But yeah, this one didn't do the huge pop and everything like GameStop and AMC did. All right, so that's the look on stuff. Oil did jump above this neckline again, so oil's doing a weird consolidation pattern. You know what it's doing though? Look at it. It did a bull blast. Whoops. Look at it. Oh, wait, what happened? Oil might be doing the same topping pattern that I've been talking about here. You know, you get the bull run, you get the sideways move, then you get that rolling blow off top, consolidate under, now we're consolidating above it, right? And then boom to the downside. So if we get that, I'm just calling it like the inflationary kind of topping pattern, where why would things be topping if we're in the middle of inflation? But we're getting that on a bunch of charts. IWM looking like that, oil's looking like that. You know, these are sectors that have been bulling really hard and just getting like floods of margin loan and stuff like that. And so, I mean, really all you need is you need the margin loan to not be flowing into those stocks. And what causes that to happen? Just some sort of contraction in the international banking system. So during the COVID crisis, we had a big contraction. It was a repo market failure where basically the repo market is the center of the international banking system where most of the dollars are created. And it's a bunch of treasuries traded around. And so treasuries got tight and banks could not do the overnight lending and loans to each other. The interest rates went way up. And then you get a contraction in the banking system, and that means that they cannot give any more margin loans out. And so that flood of new money that keeps pushing the market up disappears really fast, and then boom, boom to the downside. And then once you start making a move to the downside, then you have to pay all these margin loans. You have a ton of leverage. You have like tons of call options getting busted up, and you can get an accelerated down move in a hurry. But you know, same thing at like 2008 crash was a big contraction in the American banking system. And this is more about the international banking system. What was the big deal in 2018? We had the Volmageddon crash, and then the end of 2018, and then 2020 we had the COVID crash. And those are all big contractions in the international banking system. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the risk to the market, but you're not going to get like a email from your international banker saying like, oh, we're about to contract. You just have to hold stuff with risk if you want to go long, and just realize like things can freaking crash to the downside in a hurry. But as long as those loans are coming in, they can explode to the upside as well. So just like high volatility, same stuff for 3 years or something, just high volatility, and you can make big moves either way. It's just a really risky market, difficult to trade, but pretty cool for trading options. When you get these vertical moves, you can make big money on options trading. So this is not investment advice, as always, and just kind of taking a look at the meme stocks. Kind of the only thing interesting right now. Gold is semi-interesting, but if we get multiple meme stock charts all kind of breaking out at the same time, that could be a pretty cool look. And I guess sort of timing the whole market, yeah, June looks scary, and then July looks really scary. So if we bull out into this thing, June, July, start looking really scary, because then, well, there's no support. Once we get past this little bull channel and we're over here underneath mega resistance here, 43, 44, this area, super resistance. Even if we broke out, probably would be a false breakout. Boom to the downside. I mean, that would be a huge rip to the downside. And also this, you know, the yellow line is the channel support, but we've already busted it up enough times that it's not like reliable support. It's more of like a reaction trend line. So that's what's up. And then, yeah, the longer term look is we've painted some bear lines. We have like converging bear targets way down here in the 20 range. I mean, the stock market could go in half in kind of a hurry, and it wouldn't surprise me to do that. And the only thing that would make us paint those bear lines is if all of these loans stopped. Like if the loans stop, the market comes down. And so right now it doesn't look like that's happening, but it could happen. I mean, that's what was happening here and here, vol again in 2018, the 2020 crash. All of these crashes are contractions in the international monetary system. And that's kind of the pattern we're in. Is if we get a contraction, then these bear lines will come into play, and you can make a big down move. And if not, if the loans keep flowing and everything's fine, then we'll probably bust out of the top of this thing, and who knows. So that's the next 2 months or so. Just trying to figure out what's happening with new money coming in, and yeah, that's it. Those are all the lines that I have for now, and happy trading.